So my name is Guillaume Assembly. I'm working for TAUT for 2 years now, and I'm the technical manager of the company and also responsible for the safety and security on the vessels and in the company.
How different is it working with an organization like this that's mindful about the environment and operating by wind power instead of a traditional cargo shipping?
It's something that you need to repeat to yourself from time to time, because on the daily work it's not that different. A ship is a ship. It needs to have supplies, it needs to sail, it needs to be routed, the crew needs support, and so in the daily job it doesn't really change much. But after, what really changes is, first, when the ship is sailing in itself, it's a sailing cargo vessel, so the propulsion with the sails make it a really nice adventure and brings amazing images. And also, of course, when you make a nice crossing where you had the nice winds, the vessel was loaded with cargo, then you also see at the end the figures of the carbon emission per kilo or tons of cargo transported. That is ridiculously low, and that's something that is really enthusiastic.
How important is it to you, as personally, obviously to the company, but how important is it to you personally to be working with a company that's focusing on its carbon footprint?
I've passed my 40, and I had quite some experience in the maritime business. I've been in the maritime industry for all of my career, and with a bit on education on ecology and how the system works and the impact of carbon and things like that have of course increased, but the last years, but with an initial sensitivity. For me, it was important to put my experience and my knowledge into something that had more meaning than the standard maritime business that I used to do before. And for me, it was really important to embrace a cause that was a bit that involved development of technologies to allow us to reduce our footprint while transporting goods and crossing oceans. So for me, this is why I've come to TAUT and why I engage into this company and engage into this cause, and this is why I love my job.
Can we talk about the ship itself? How unique is this ship? Oh, sorry, I'm just going to stop and start. Okay, yeah, the actual ship itself, how unique is this boat?
So the ships, they are what we call a general cargo ship. So it transports dry cargo in packaged goods. And the unicity of this vessel is that they are mainly propelled by wind. And it's a unique design in itself, because it aggregates quite a lot of technologies that already exist, but it's the first time that they are used in a cargo ship of that size. The hull in itself has been optimized to work as a sailing cargo vessel, but what will propel the ship, I mean the mast, the rigging, the sail, it's something that is already existing in the yachting industry or in the offshore racing, sailing offshore racing, that has been adapted and integrated to be on board this ship and to propel the ship in the best condition possible. And basically, the unicity of this vessel is more the merging of two worlds, which is the merchant navy operated with engines and so on, and the offshore and wind technologies that have merged together to create a cargo ship that can cross oceans with a very limited consumption of gas oil and mainly propelled by wind and at very decent speeds.
Sorry. You say mainly, just to clarify that, mainly propelled by wind. Could you just explain that the engine that you have is more for, I guess, emergencies or situations where I don't know, it's very specific situations.
The purpose of the company initially was not to be extreme in its statement to use only sail. For, let's say, there is one legal reason and one also commercial reason, let's say. The legal reason is that as per international treaties and organization, a ship is something made of steel that has an engine to be propelled at a minimum speed. So you need to have something to propel the vessel anytime. So this is why we have engines. It's also useful to go in and out of the ports or in some emergency situations, for example. Okay. This is the legal reason. The commercial reason is that there is wind a bit everywhere, almost every time, but in some places at some moment there is no wind or the wind is completely against you, and it makes it difficult to make your way, even with the very modern routing and weather forecast that we can have. So it means that to achieve a bit of certainty in your commercial perspective, you also need some time to be able to go from one zone with wind to another zone with wind by crossing a few dozens of 100 miles with your engine to optimize the global route. So this is also one of the reasons why we have engines and we sometimes use them.
Just going to switch this. Can you just talk about the type of clients that you have that are prepared to spend a little bit more so that their cargo doesn't create a carbon footprint?
So mainly what we sell is that we ship cargo with way less carbon footprint indeed. And that obviously comes with some drawbacks, otherwise everybody would do that. It means that we are sometimes a bit slower in the transit, but we also tend to compensate that on the fact that we are a bit more a smaller cargo ship, so we can go a bit more from the place of production to the place of delivery without significant transit time to take one vessel and have a container dropped somewhere and then picked up as another vessel to cross and so on. So, and also because we are a bit slower, we have a bit more cost to operate maybe than a huge container ship. It means that we have a higher cost. So the customers that are interested in our in what we sell, in our kind of shipping line, are customers who want to have an impact on the product that they sell to the customers. So it means that generally it's not a very cheap product in itself. It needs to have a bit of a value to be able to absorb a bit of additional cost induced by the self-propelled shipping. And the people need to care a bit about what they sell and what the impact of their product. So most of the time we are more integrated into a chain of small, into operations that the industrials or the importers or the people who are selling the products are having at every step of their chain to reduce their footprint globally. So it means we are really talking about companies that are involved into the transition with regard to economy, footprint, carbon footprint.
Excellent. Okay, thanks. Yeah, if you could give me a fairly short answer on, we have two ships here. There's this ship and the one behind me, the Anemos, Artemis, and we're building another 6 to make a fleet of 8. Just a quick statement on that.
So I'm standing there on Anemos, and behind me we have Artemis. We are on the port of Fécamp. We are having a small winter break to reorganize a bit the commerce and do some technical operations. And as we speak, we have our 4th vessel that was launched to the water last Friday. So this 4th vessel is the 4th vessel of a series of globally 8, counting those 2 first vessels, that Todt is building and will be operating in the near future. The purpose to have a fleet of those cargo vessels is to be able to create also some regular lines and give some regularity to our shipping lines, and then be able to operate mainly in the Atlantic Ocean, having some regular touch base in Europe, in South America, in North America.
That's great. And one last question: just very personally, your thoughts on the climate and the work that you're doing and how important it is.
It's a bit difficult to... The climate is a bit when you look at infinity, in fact, because it's very difficult to capture the global picture of it and to understand the impact of things. And sometimes you also, despite we know that there are observations that the climate is changing and so on, there is a bit of a dystopia with the needs of the economy, the way it is run, the way you have your own comfort and so on. So you need also to have a bit some beliefs about that the human needs to do something to impact the climate, or at least to try to limit their impact on the climate. So for me, sometimes I look at it and I'm sure that we need to do something, and sometimes I find it a bit vain, because you're just there with your own 2 hands and you have your own pressure from your day-to-day life, and sometimes you take shortcuts and you know that they are not going the right way. But in the end, the only thing that you can really do as a human being, because you cannot really change the full government position, the international laws and anything, I think as a human being you can step into actions that are going in the positive way to have a less negative impact on the climate than the trend that we were taking before. So that's what I'm trying to do, is to try to integrate the fact that I want to participate into making things a bit better, reducing my impact. And I think one of the ways is trying to be reasonable in my personal life. And one step further is to be involved professionally in something that has hopefully a bigger impact than what I can do on my own.
That's great. And are you a family man? Do you have children? Do you think about the world that they'll take over?
I have children. I have 2 daughters. They are 13 and 10 now. And to be honest, I'm not trying to think too much about the details of the world that they will live in, because we don't really know, and I think it's also not really necessary to panic, otherwise you lose your means and you're not going anywhere anyway. Of course, I'm trying to act for them, but I'm also trying to learn them to be reasonable in the way they use the world, in the way They have consumption in the way they see the world as well. And for that, I'm professionally there as on a ship, because that's what I like to do in my professional life. I also enjoy that quite a lot in my personal life, and I think that's also something me and my wife, we try to transmit to our girls. Living on a boat, you live with a few watts of electricity, with a limited amount of water, and that's the kind of experience that also teaches our children to be reasonable, and that you can have a very fun and enjoyable life with a very limited impact on your on what you consume and your environment. So that's the way I'm seeing a bit the transition to the next generation.
That's great. Thank you. That's great.
I think I'm better